Here's 10 things from the 50s today's kids just won't understand. But first, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Getting dressed up. During the 50s, you wouldn't catch anyone, be it a child or an adult, stepping outside their home without being impeccably dressed. Imagine men strolling down the avenues, each donning a crisp tie and a hat as if they were the unspoken uniforms of the day. Women, in their swaying dresses, exuded grace with every step. The very idea of going to the grocery store in pajamas and slippers was unthinkable, a stark contrast to today's norms. Children, too, were part of this fashion parade, each outfitted in attire specifically chosen for school, church, or playtime, with boys always having their shirts neatly tucked in. This wasn't a world devoid of casual wear, but rather one where families embraced the ethos of presenting themselves at their finest, a testament to their pride and dignity whenever they stepped out into the world. Radio entertainment. In the 50s, the heart of family entertainment beat within the confines of a grand living room radio. Picture families huddled together as children's eyes sparkled with anticipation for the latest adventures of iconic heroes like The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, The Lone Ranger, and The Adventures of Superman. These captivating radio shows weren't just mere pastimes. They were the forerunners in the exciting transition to television, a magical era for those fortunate enough to witness it. If your home boasted a television, you were the talk of the neighborhood, a pioneer in a new age of entertainment. Although these TVs featured small, black and white screens, they were nothing short of a technological marvel, igniting imaginations and bringing families together in ways never seen before. The 1950s marked the dawn of a new era in entertainment, transforming living rooms into gateways of thrilling adventures and unforgettable memories. Household culture. The 50s were a time when life's milestones followed a rhythm as predictable as a metronome. Picture this: young couples, fresh out of high school, stepping boldly into matrimony, often by the tender age of 18. Yet, despite their youth, these parents were unyielding in instilling the virtues of politeness and manners in their children from the cradle. In this bygone era, respect for elders wasn't just encouraged, it was a cornerstone of upbringing. Children were taught to respond with a respectful "yes, ma'am" or "no, sir," to hold eye contact in conversations as a sign of attentiveness and respect, and to politely request permission to leave the dinner table. These were the golden rules of decorum, adhered to in a world untouched by the distractions of cell phones and the whirlwind of social media. Life was simpler, interactions more genuine, with every please and thank you weaving the fabric of a society deeply rooted in courtesy and respect. Going to church. In the 1950s, Sundays were a lot different. A time when church was more than a building, it was a cornerstone of community life. In this era, the echoes of hymns and sermons were a familiar Sunday morning melody, often extending to Wednesday evenings and the much-anticipated church potlucks. As the baby boom swelled the nation's population, it also filled the church pews to the brim. This was a time when record numbers flocked to places of worship, turning religion into a national heartbeat for families across the country. Now, let's turn the pages to the classrooms of the 1950s. Public school students experienced a world vastly different from what we know today. Graduation was not the expected rite of passage as it is now. Many teenagers, especially in rural areas, traded textbooks for jobs, stepping into adulthood prematurely. High school completion was viewed through a different lens, with a stronger emphasis on vocational skills like automotive repair, woodshop, or homemaking. College, a distant dream for many, as access to higher education was limited. Yet, for the few who embarked on this journey, it was a path more affordable than today's standards, often funded by working their way through, paying as they went. This was an era where the blueprint of education was drawn quite differently, shaping generations in unique ways. Music back then was a lot different. It was a time when the mere swing of a hip or a strum of a guitar could send shockwaves through the quiet suburbs. Parents stood watchful, almost vigilant, as the airwaves began to hum with a new, electrifying sound. Enter Elvis Presley and Chuck Berry with their mesmerizing gyrations and soul-stirring rhythms, igniting a cultural uproar that echoed through every picket fence street. Gone were the days of the soothing big band era, now replaced by what some scandalized adults dubbed the devil's music. Yet this new genre of rock and roll became the siren song for teenagers who couldn't resist its rebellious allure. Parents, in a desperate bid to shield their children, fought an uphill battle to keep this pulsating new music from infiltrating their homes. No listening, no watching, and certainly no dancing to rock and roll. Little did they know, this wasn't just a passing fad. This was the dawn of a musical revolution that would evolve into the daring lyrics and provocative performances that define the music world of today. A far cry from the 1950s cautious ears, the journey from Elvis's hips to today's bold tunes marks a wild evolution of music. Board games. Imagine a time when the buzz of technology didn't echo through the hallways of homes, but rather the sound of laughter and the clatter of dice on a board game. In this bygone era, children found joy and excitement not in the glow of phones or tablets, but in the simple pleasure of board games like Monopoly, Mousetrap, or The Game of Life. These games weren't just pastimes, they were the heart of family evenings, with some households even dedicating a special night for these playful gatherings. Picture this, a family huddled around a colorful board, strategizing and negotiating with each other, as a Parker Brothers or Milton Bradley game brought them together for less than $2. It was a time when rolling a dice could spark a conversation and moving a game piece could ignite laughter. These board game nights were more than just entertainment. They were incubators for joyful memories and hearty conversations. A delightful contrast to today's digital-dominated world. Playing outside. Step outside into the sun-drenched afternoons of the 1950s, where the air buzzed with the sounds of children's laughter and the thud of a makeshift ball. In this era, the concept of organized sports was a distant thought, leaving kids to their boundless imaginations to create their own games under the open sky. They were the masters of their playtime, deciding the what, where, and when of their games, breathing life into their self-made adventures. Imagine the scene. A huddle of eager faces as they chose their captains, who then proudly picked their teams, not for skill, but for the sheer joy of playing together. This was a time when the measure of a good day was not in trophies or scores, but in the dirt on your knees, the smile on your face, and the strength of the friendships forged on these makeshift fields. The 1950s painted a vivid picture of childhood play, less about striving to be the best ball player and more about the pure delight of the game. It was a time untouched by the pressures of earning a trophy for mere participation, a stark contrast to the well-organized and adult-led sports of today. In this nostalgic glance back, we find a reminder of the simple joys of childhood, where fun and friendships were the true champions. Television. Television was a lot different back then, too, when a flickering new TV set was a portal to wonder for wide-eyed children. Among the pantheon of shows, one reigned supreme in the hearts of young viewers: the Howdy Doody Show. This NBC-produced spectacle wasn't just a show. It was a groundbreaking adventure in children's programming, blending the magic of puppets with beloved human characters like Buffalo Bob and Clarabelle the Clown. Envision the excitement as the iconic "It's Howdy Doody Time" theme song echoed through the living room. Like moths to a flame, children would dash from all corners of the house, eyes alight with anticipation, gathering around the TV. There, they would join the on-screen peanut gallery, a group of in-studio children sharing in the live wonder of the show. Howdy Doody wasn't just a character, he was a cultural phenomenon. His grinning face adorned merchandise and beamed from advertisements, making him a familiar friend and an iconic figure in the homes of countless families. The show's popularity etched it into the annals of TV history, capturing the imagination of a generation and leaving an indelible mark on the landscape of American childhood. The computer revolution. In the mid-1950s, a revolution was quietly brewing, the dawn of the computer age. But these machines were worlds apart from what we know today. Envision colossal computers, mammoth in size, occupying entire rooms. With a rental cost soaring over $15,000 per month, only the largest corporations in the United States could afford to harness their power. These early computers were specialized giants, dedicated solely to complex calculations and scientific tasks. And here's a startling fact: their memory capacity was a mere 10 kilobytes. To put that into perspective, it's the equivalent of sending just a single email in today's digital world. It's a humbling comparison that highlights just how far we've journeyed in the world of computing, from room-sized behemoths to the sleek, powerful devices that fit in the palms of our hands. Family road trips on the interstate. In an era before air travel became the norm, the quintessential family vacation began with a car packed to the brim, ready to hit the open road. The 1950s marked a transformative period for road trips as the burgeoning interstate system reshaped American travel, making state-to-state journeys smoother and more accessible. Along these thriving routes, a new landscape emerged, dotted with gas stations, restaurants, and motels, catering to the needs of adventurous families. Iconic chains like Holiday Inn, Howard Johnson's, and Stuckey's rose to prominence, becoming beloved pit stops for travelers heading to sunny destinations like Florida. The ritual of packing the family car was an event in itself, brimming with excitement and anticipation. Days spent on the road were not just about the destination, but the journey itself, weaving a tapestry of unforgettable memories and bonding experiences that families cherished for years to come. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to subscribe and like the video.